The millionaire had given up on love until he met a humble fisherwoman at the pier. Michael Thompson was standing at the end of the pier, watching the dark ocean waters while holding a gold ring that had cost more than many people earn in a year. His life seemed to have lost all meaning after discovering the betrayal that made him question everything he believed about love. That's when he heard the sound of something falling into the water. He had thrown the ring into the ocean, determined to forever forget the wedding plans that had turned into bitter disappointment. "Wow, what a big fish," said a female voice beside him. Michael turned and saw a woman with dark hair tied in a ponytail, wearing a simple white blouse and faded jeans. She held a fishing rod and smiled as she pulled the line. "Sorry, I didn't mean to bother," she continued, noticing his gaze. "It's just that I caught something heavy here." When she completely pulled in the line, Michael felt his heart stop. Hanging from the hook was exactly the ring he had thrown seconds before. "How strange," the woman said, examining the golden object. "It looks like a wedding ring. It must have fallen from someone. Did you see anything?" Michael remained silent for a few moments, still processing what had happened. The coincidence seemed impossible. "It's mine," he said finally. "I just dropped it." "Oh, what luck then," she replied with a genuine smile. "Here it is. It must be very important for you to be fishing at night looking for it." She extended the ring to him, but Michael hesitated to take it. "Actually, I wasn't fishing," he admitted. "I threw the ring into the ocean on purpose." The woman's expression changed from surprise to curiosity, but there was no judgment in her eyes. "If you threw it on purpose, then you must have a good reason," she said softly. "I won't ask what it is, but if you changed your mind, here it is." "And if I haven't changed my mind?" asked Michael. "Then I can throw it back for you," she answered with a small smile. "But maybe it would be better to talk a little first. Sometimes when we open up, things become clearer." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Michael looked at this stranger, who offered her company without even knowing him. There was something in her simplicity that made him lower his guard. "I found out today that my fiancé was cheating on me," he said, the words coming out more easily than expected. "With my best friend." The woman made a sound of understanding, but didn't say anything immediately. Instead, she sat on the pier's planks and gestured for him to do the same. "I'm sorry," she said when he sat beside her. "That must have been terrible to discover." "What's worse is that now I feel like an idiot," Michael confessed. "How didn't I notice before?" "All the signs were there." "Sometimes we don't want to see what's right in front of us," she replied, "especially when it hurts too much." They remained silent for a few minutes, listening to the sound of waves hitting the pier's pillars. "My name is Emily," she said finally. "Emily Miller. And you?" "Michael," he answered. "Michael Thompson." "Nice to meet you, Michael," Emily said. "Can I ask you a question? Do you often throw rings into the ocean, or was today an exception?" Despite everything, Michael laughed. "First time," he admitted, "and probably the last, considering it didn't work out very well." "The ocean sometimes returns things when it thinks we're not ready to let them go," Emily said, looking at the water. "My father always said that." "Was your father a fisherman?" "He was," she confirmed. "Spent his whole life on this pier. He said the ocean knew things we didn't understand yet." "And do you believe that?" Emily shrugged. "I believe sometimes things happen for a reason, like you being here right when I fished your ring out." Michael looked at the ring still in her hands. The band gleamed under the pier lights. "What would you do in my place?" he asked. "Hard to say," Emily replied thoughtfully. "I've never had a ring to throw into the ocean, but I think I'd keep it for now. Not to go back to whoever hurt you, but to remind yourself that you deserve someone who values what this ring represents." "And what does it represent?" "True commitment, faithfulness, real love," Emily said with conviction. "Things some people don't know how to appreciate, but that doesn't mean you should stop believing in them." Michael was impressed by the wisdom of this woman he'd just met. "You talk as if you know these things well," he observed. Emily's smile became slightly strained. "Let's just say I've had my disappointments too," she said simply. "Want to talk about it?" Emily shook her head. "Tonight is your turn to vent. Mine has passed." Michael felt curious about her story but respected her choice not to share. "Can I ask another question?" he said. "Sure. Do you come fishing here every night?" "Almost every night," Emily confirmed. "It's my peaceful time after a long day, and the fish don't judge if you've had a bad day." "What kind of work do you do?" Emily hesitated for a moment. "Various small jobs," she replied. "I clean houses in the morning, help in a restaurant kitchen in the afternoon, and come fishing at night. Whatever I catch, I sell at the market early tomorrow." Michael sensed there was a deeper story behind her routine, but didn't want to push. "And you?" Emily asked. "What do you do besides throwing rings into the ocean?" "I have an import company," Michael replied. "I work too much, lose track of time, and apparently can't tell when the people closest to me are deceiving me." "Everyone has blind spots," Emily said gently. "Especially when it comes to people we love. We trust because we want to believe." "And how did you learn to be so wise?" Emily laughed. "I'm not wise. I've just been through some things that taught me to see situations from a different angle." They continued talking for another hour. Michael learned that Emily supported 3 orphaned nephews, lived in a simple house near the harbor, and dreamed of having her own fishing boat one day. She discovered that Michael had built his company from scratch, worked more than 12 hours a day, and that his biggest frustration was feeling successful in business but failing in personal relationships. When Emily finally said she needed to leave, Michael didn't want the conversation to end. "Can I come here tomorrow?" he asked. "To talk again." "The pier is public," Emily replied with a smile. "But I'll be here fishing around 8 in the evening." "And the ring?" Emily looked at the object in her hands. "I'll keep it with me today. If tomorrow you still want to throw it into the ocean, I'll help. If you change your mind, you can take it back." Michael nodded, feeling this was the right decision. "Emily?" "Yes?" "Thank you. For fishing it out, for talking, for everything. Thank you for not calling security when a stranger started giving advice," she replied playfully. After Emily left, Michael stayed a few more minutes on the pier. For the first time in hours, he didn't feel anger or sadness. He felt curious. Who was this woman who appeared at the exact moment when he most needed someone to talk to? The next day, Michael had trouble concentrating at work. His secretary, Rachel, commented several times that he seemed distant. "Mr. Michael, Mrs. Jennifer called 3 times today," Rachel informed him late in the afternoon. "She wants to speak with you about cancelling the wedding. Jennifer was your ex-fiancée." Michael hadn't spoken with her since he discovered the betrayal. "Tell her I'm not available," he answered. "She said it's urgent, something about the party and the suppliers." Michael sighed. He would have to deal with this eventually. "Schedule it for tomorrow morning. A quick meeting." At 8 o'clock in the evening, Michael was back at the pier. Emily was already there in the same position as the previous night, with her fishing rod in the water. "Good evening," she said, when she saw him approaching. "Good evening," Michael replied, sitting beside her. "How was your day?" "Busy but productive," Emily said. "And yours? Did you manage to think about the ring?" "I thought more about our conversation than the ring," Michael admitted. "It was the first time in a long time that I talked with someone without feeling judged." Emily smiled. "Sometimes it's easier to open up to strangers. They don't have expectations about who you should be." "Can I ask you something?" Michael said. "You mentioned yesterday that you had your disappointments. Want to share today?" Emily stayed quiet for a moment, watching the fishing line. "I was married for 3 years," she finally said. "My ex-husband was from a wealthy family. When we met, he made a point of showing he was different, that he didn't care about those things. But after we married, I found out he was only with me to provoke his parents." "How so?" "It was a kind of rebellion for him," Emily explained. "Marrying a poor woman, showing his family he could do whatever he wanted. When the novelty wore off and his parents threatened to disinherit him, he ended everything and went back home." "I'm sorry," Michael said sincerely. "The worst part wasn't even that," Emily continued. The worst was finding out that the whole time he was telling his friends intimate things about me, things about my family, my financial situation. They laughed at my naivety for believing it was true love. Michael felt anger toward that man he didn't know. "What a scoundrel," he said. "For a long time I blamed myself," Emily admitted. "I thought I was foolish for trusting. But later I understood that the problem wasn't me trusting. The problem was him not being worthy of that trust." "Is that why you said I deserved someone who valued what the ring represents?" "Exactly," Emily confirmed. "When we go through a betrayal, it's easy to think the problem is with us, but sometimes the problem is simply that the other person has no character." They talked for 2 more hours. Emily told him about how she had to start her life over from scratch after the divorce, how she took custody of her nephews when her sister died in an accident, and how she learned to fish from her father. Michael talked about the pressure of keeping the company running, about how he felt lonely even surrounded by people, and about how he had lost the ability to trust his own judgments about people. "Can I suggest something?" Emily said when he finished talking about his insecurities. "Of course. Do you want to learn how to fish?" Michael laughed. "Fish? Me? Why not? It's relaxing, forces you to be patient, and you learn to trust your instincts again. When a fish is biting the bait, you know. When someone is just playing with the line, you know too." "Are you talking literally about fishing, or is this a metaphor?" Emily smiled. "Both." "All right," Michael said. "Teach me." Emily spent the next hour teaching Michael the basics of fishing, how to hold the rod, how to cast the line, how to know when a fish was biting the bait. He was clumsy at first, but Emily was a patient teacher. "Very good," she said when he finally managed to cast the line correctly. "Now just wait." "Is it always this time-consuming?" "Sometimes," Emily answered. "Fishing teaches patience, and that some good things in life need time to happen." They kept fishing in comfortable silence for another hour. Michael didn't catch any fish, but he left feeling calmer than he had in weeks. "Can I come again tomorrow?" he asked when Emily started putting away her equipment. "If you want," she replied, "but tomorrow I'll bring an extra rod for you. That way you don't have to share mine." "You have an extra rod?" Emily hesitated. "It was my father's," she said simply. Michael understood she was offering something very meaningful to her. "Thank you," he said. "I'll take good care of it." On the 3rd day, Michael arrived at the pier before Emily. He had brought snacks and drinks for both of them, thinking it would be a way to return her kindness. "What a nice surprise," Emily said when she saw the food. "Thank you." "It's the least I can do," Michael replied. "You've been helping me so much these days." "We're helping each other," Emily corrected. It had been a while since I'd talked this much with someone. While they ate, Michael mentioned he had met with Jennifer that morning. "How was it?" "Strange," Michael admitted. "She was regretful, crying, saying she had made a mistake, that she wanted to give me another chance." "And how did you feel?" "Nothing," Michael said, surprised by his own answer. "I expected to feel anger or pain, or at least something. But I just felt empty." "Maybe it's because you're already moving on," Emily suggested. "Or maybe it's because I'm realizing I never really loved her," Michael reflected. "Maybe I just like the idea of being with someone, of not being alone." Emily nodded understandingly. "It's hard to tell sometimes, especially when everyone around you expects you to get married and start a family." "That's exactly it," Michael said. "My mother keeps asking for grandchildren. My married friends always talked as if I were incomplete because I was single. I think I forced myself to believe I was in love because that's what everyone expected." "And now? How do you feel knowing that?" "Relieved in a way," Michael admitted. "And curious about what it would be like to truly love someone, without pressure, without rush, without others' expectations." Emily looked at him for a moment, before turning her gaze to the water. "I bet when it happens, you'll know," she said softly. They started fishing, and this time Michael managed to catch his first fish. It was small, but Emily celebrated as if it were the fish of the century. "Well done," she shouted, clapping. "You caught it." "It's small," Michael laughed. "Size doesn't matter with the first fish," Emily said. What matters is that you had patience, trusted the process, and didn't give up even when it took time. Michael looked at Emily, celebrating his small victory as if it was something extraordinary, and felt something warm spreading through his chest. She was genuinely happy for him, without wanting anything in return. "Emily?" "Yes?" "Can I ask you a personal question?" "Go ahead." "Why are you being so kind to me? You don't even know me." Emily became thoughtful for a moment. "Because when I was at my worst, someone was kind to me for no reason," she replied. "It was a lady who worked at the diner near my home. I was crying in the street after finding out my ex-husband was spreading lies about me, and she brought me a coffee and stayed with me until I stopped crying. I never even knew her full name." "And did that change anything for you?" "It changed everything," Emily said with conviction. "She showed me there was still kindness in the world even when I thought all people were cruel. Since then, whenever I can, I try to do the same thing. Be a little kindness in someone's bad day." Michael felt he was meeting a special person. The simplicity with which Emily saw the world, her ability to find beauty in small gestures, the way she had transformed her own pain into compassion for others. "Have you ever thought you might be wasting your time with me?" he asked. "A rich guy who throws a ring into the ocean because he had first-world problems?" Emily turned to look directly at him. "Michael, pain is pain," she said seriously. "It doesn't matter if you live in a mansion or a simple house like mine. When someone betrays your trust, it hurts the same way. When you feel lost, you feel the same way. Your tears aren't worth less than mine just because your bank account is different." "Thank you for saying that," Michael said, touched by her sincerity. "It's the truth," Emily replied. "And besides, you're not wasting my time. I'm enjoying our friendship." Friendship. The word echoed in Michael's head. Was that what they had? A friendship? And why did the idea that it was just that make him a little uncomfortable? Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out, now continuing. On the fourth night, Michael arrived even earlier. He had spent the whole day thinking about Emily and their conversation from the previous night. There was something about her that intrigued him, something beyond her obvious kindness. "You're coming earlier and earlier," Emily observed when she saw him. "It's just that I get eager to come here," Michael admitted. "These moments here are the best part of my day." Emily smiled, but there was something different in her expression, more cautious. "Michael, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "What are you looking for here, I mean with me?" The question caught Michael by surprise. "What do you mean?" "You're a successful businessman. You must know hundreds of interesting people. Why are you spending your nights at a pier talking to a fisherwoman?" Michael realized there was real insecurity in her question. "Do you think I'm here out of pity, or some kind of charity?" "I don't know," Emily admitted. "Sometimes people like you do that. They help people like me to feel better about themselves." "Emily, look at me," Michael said, hoping she would make eye contact. "I'm here because you're the first person in years who talks to me without wanting something in return. You really listen to me, give me honest advice, and accept me even at my lowest moments. This has nothing to do with charity." "Then what does it have to do with?" Michael hesitated. He knew the answer, but wasn't sure if he should say it. "It has to do with the fact that I'm starting to fall in love with you," he finally said. Emily stayed silent for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer. "Michael, we're from very different worlds," she said. "And does that matter?" "It does matter," Emily replied firmly. "You'll get tired of this simple life. You'll miss your world, your parties, the women from your social circle, and I'll be here, fishing alone again. Have you decided that for me?" "I'm trying to protect us both," Emily explained, "mostly myself." "What are you protecting yourself from?" Emily looked at him with sad eyes. "From falling in love with someone who will abandon me when the novelty wears off," she whispered. Michael felt his heart tighten. He understood that Emily wasn't just being cautious. She was genuinely afraid. "Emily, I'm not your ex-husband," he said gently. "I know," she replied. "But you're from the same world." And in that world, people like me are temporary entertainment. Do you really believe that? Emily didn't answer, but her tears answered for her. Michael moved closer to her on the pier. Can I show you that you're wrong? He asked. How? Let me be part of your real life. Introduce me to your nephews. Show me where you work. Let me meet your friends. If I run away after seeing your real world, you were right. If I stay and prove I'm serious, maybe you'll consider giving me a chance. Emily wiped her tears and looked at him. Are you sure you want this? Absolutely, Michael answered without hesitation. All right, Emily finally said. But don't complain later that I didn't warn you. The following Saturday, Emily took Michael to see where she lived. It was a small house on a cobblestone street, with wooden windows painted blue and a small backyard where clothes were hanging on a line. Daniel, Andrew, Olivia, Emily called as they entered. Come here. I want to introduce someone. 3 children came running. Daniel was about 12, Andrew 10, and Olivia 8. They all looked at Michael with curiosity. This is Michael, Emily said. He's my friend. Michael, these are my nephews. Hi, Michael said, a bit nervous. He didn't have much experience with children. Are you rich? Olivia asked directly. Olivia, Emily scolded. It's all right, Michael laughed. Yes, Olivia, I have plenty of money. Then why are you wearing regular clothes? Daniel asked. Because when I'm with you, I don't want to dress differently than you, Michael answered honestly. Andrew, who had been quiet, finally spoke. Are you going to leave when you get tired of Aunt Emily? The child's direct question caught Michael off guard, but also made him understand how much those children had already suffered from abandonment. No, Michael answered, looking directly at Andrew. I'm not leaving. Promise. I promise. Emily watched the interaction carefully. Michael could tell this was some kind of test. Do you want to show me the house? Michael asked. The children gave him a tour. The house was simple but clean and cozy. In their room, Michael saw there were only 2 bunk beds, and the 3 shared the space without complaining. In Emily's room there were stacks of books about fishing and business management, which surprised him. You study business management? He asked when they were alone. I study when I can, Emily admitted. I dream of having my own business someday, a sustainable fishing company maybe. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because they're just dreams, Emily said, shrugging. People like me usually don't have money to invest in dreams. Emily. No, she interrupted. I won't accept your financial help. If you became rich, it's because you worked for it. I want to earn my achievements too. Michael admired her independence even more, even though it frustrated his desire to help her. They spent the rest of the day with the children. Michael helped Andrew with his math homework, listened to Olivia read a book aloud, and played soccer in the backyard with Daniel. When it was time to leave, the children asked him to come back. They liked you, Emily observed when the children went inside. And you? Michael asked. Emily looked at him for a moment. You were much better with them than I expected, she admitted. Why did you expect the worst? Because most people from your social background don't know how to deal with poor children, Emily said honestly. They treat them like they're another species. They're smart and affectionate children, Michael said. Anyone who can't see that is the one with the problem. Emily smiled, and for the first time Michael saw hope in her eyes. Want to see where I work? She asked. On Sunday, Emily took Michael to see the houses where she worked as a cleaner and the restaurant where she helped in the kitchen. In each place, people treated her with affection and respect. Michael realized Emily had built genuine relationships everywhere. Emily is a blessing, said Mrs. Susan, one of Emily's employers. Honest, hard-working, and she even helps me with recipes she learned from her mother. At the restaurant, the chef praised her publicly. This woman has a magic touch with seasonings, he told Michael. I've already offered her the position of my official sous chef, but she says she doesn't have time. After a day getting to know Emily's world, Michael was even more impressed with her. She had built a dignified and respected life, despite all the difficulties. So? Emily asked as they were heading home. Do you still want to be part of this? Even more than before, Michael replied sincerely. Why? Because now I understand that you're not just a good person. You're an extraordinary person who managed to create a beautiful life even after everything you've been through. Emily stopped walking and looked at him. Michael, I need to tell you something, she said seriously. What? I'm falling for you too, she admitted, and that scares me a lot. Michael smiled and took her hands. You don't need to be afraid, he said gently. How can you be so sure? Because I've never felt anything like this before, Michael answered. And because I don't want to lose you. Emily stood on her tiptoes and kissed Michael for the first time. It was a gentle kiss, full of hope and fear at the same time. When they pulled apart, Emily whispered, If you hurt me, there'll be nothing left of me to start over. I won't hurt you, Michael promised, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving that. For a few weeks, Michael and Emily lived in a bubble of happiness. He spent afternoons helping the kids with their homework and evenings fishing with Emily. She was starting to believe that maybe it was possible to have a serious relationship with him. That's when everything started to fall apart. Veronica's mother, Mrs. Williams, showed up at the pier on a Tuesday evening. Michael and Emily were fishing when they heard firm footsteps on the wooden planks. Michael Thompson, said an authoritative voice behind them. They turned and saw an elegant woman in her 60s, wearing an expensive skirt and blazer set and carrying a designer purse. Her grey hair was pulled back in an impeccable bun. Mrs. Williams, Michael said, surprised. What are you doing here? I came to talk to you about this situation, she said, looking at Emily with obvious disdain. What situation? Michael asked, though he knew exactly what she meant. Don't play dumb, Mrs. Williams retorted. My daughter is devastated because of you. You had a commitment, a wedding date set, a life planned, and now you're throwing it all away for that. Emily stood up, clearly offended. My name is Emily Miller, she said with dignity, and I am not that. Mrs. Williams didn't even look at her. Michael, you're making a mistake you'll regret for the rest of your life, she continued. Veronica truly loves you. What happened was a momentary mistake, a young woman's foolishness. But this one, she gestured toward Emily, this one is only interested in your money. You don't know Emily, Michael said, trying to stay calm. I know enough, Mrs. Williams replied coldly. I know she's an uneducated woman from the slums who works as a cleaner. I know she supports 3 kids who aren't even her own. And I know you're being naive, thinking this is love. Enough, Emily said, gathering her fishing gear. Michael, I'm leaving. Emily, wait. Michael stood up too. No, Emily said firmly. Your mother-in-law is right about one thing. We're from different worlds. And in your world, people like me will always be seen as opportunists. Emily, don't let her speak for me, Michael pleaded. You don't understand, Emily said with tears in her eyes. It's not just her. It's your whole family, your friends, your co-workers. They're all going to think the same thing, and one day you'll start to wonder if they aren't right. Emily left the pier, leaving Michael and Mrs. Williams alone. See, Mrs. Williams said with satisfaction, she didn't even fight for you. That proves she doesn't truly love you. Michael turned to face the woman. You understood nothing, he said, with contained anger. Emily didn't fight because she has too much dignity to stay where she isn't welcome, and you just lost any chance of me considering getting back with your daughter. Michael, be sensible. No, Michael interrupted. You came here to humiliate the woman I love, and now you want me to be sensible. Let me be very clear. I never want you to approach me or Emily again. Mrs. Williams was shocked by his reaction. You'll regret this, she said before leaving. Michael tried to run after Emily, but when he got to her house, Mrs. Johnson, the neighbor, said that Emily had gone out with the children and didn't say when she'd be back. For 3 days, Michael tried to talk to Emily. He went to her house, to the places where she worked, returned to the pier every night. Nothing. It was as if she had simply disappeared. It was Andrew, Emily's nephew, who finally found him. Uncle Michael, the boy appeared behind him as he waited at the pier on Thursday night. Andrew, where's your aunt? She's at home crying, the boy said sadly. She doesn't want to go out, doesn't want to eat, just keeps staring out the window. Why doesn't she want to talk to me? Andrew, with his 10 years, looked at Michael with a seriousness that didn't match his age. "Because she's afraid you'll leave," he said simply. "Everyone she loves leaves." Michael crouched down to Andrew's level. "Andrew, can I tell you a secret?" The boy nodded. "I promised you I wouldn't leave, remember? And I always keep my promises, but I need you to help me prove that to your aunt." "How?" "Can you tell her that I'm here every night waiting, and that I won't give up?" Andrew nodded again. "Uncle Michael?" "Yes." "Do you really love her?" "Yes, Andrew, very much." "Then don't give up. She's already suffered a lot." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. On Friday night, Emily finally appeared at the pier. She was pale and thin, as if she hadn't eaten properly in the last few days. "Emily." Michael stood up quickly when he saw her. "Hi," she said softly, without looking directly at him. "Thank you for coming." "Andrew said you were coming here every night," Emily spoke. "I didn't want you to waste your time." "It's not a waste of time," Michael said. "It's the place I want to be." Emily finally looked at him. "Michael, I thought a lot these past few days," she said, "and I think Mrs. Williams was right about some things." "About what things?" "About us being from different worlds, about the people in your circle not accepting me, about this being harder than we imagined." Michael felt his heart race. "Emily, are you giving up on us?" "I'm being realistic," she replied, but her voice trembled. "You'll get tired of having to defend our relationship to everyone. You'll get tired of explaining me to your friends. You'll get tired of—" "Stop," Michael interrupted, taking her hands. "Emily, do you want to know what I did these 3 days?" She nodded. "I thought a lot about what Mrs. Williams said. And do you know what conclusion I reached? That she was completely wrong about you. But she was right about one thing. I really was living in an artificial world." "What do you mean?" "I spent years surrounded by people who only cared about me for my money or the connections I could offer," Michael explained. "People who flattered me when I was present and spoke ill of me when I wasn't. People who measured others' worth by the size of their bank account." Emily listened in silence. "These 3 days made me realize I don't want to live in that world anymore," Michael continued. "I want to live in your world, in the world where people have character, where relationships are genuine, where what matters is who you are, not what you have. But your job, your company, it will continue to exist," Michael said. "But now I know what I want to use the money it gives me for. I want to invest in projects that truly matter. I want to help people like you achieve their dreams. I want my children to grow up knowing the value of hard work and honesty." "Your children?" Emily asked, surprised. "The children I hope to have with you," Michael replied simply. "If you'll let me." Emily began to cry. "Michael, I've fallen in love with you," she whispered. "But I'm so afraid." "Of what?" "Of not being enough for you. Of you looking at me 5 years from now and wondering how you got involved with such a simple woman." Michael pulled Emily closer. "Emily, do you want to know what I see when I look at you?" She nodded, still crying. "I see the strongest woman I've ever known. I see someone who has been through betrayals and disappointments, but hasn't lost the ability to be kind. I see a dedicated mother raising 3 wonderful children alone. I see a worker who has 3 jobs and still finds time to study and dream. I see the most honest and authentic person in my life." Michael paused to wipe the tears from Emily's face. "And you know what else? When I look at my future now, I can't imagine it without you. I don't want an easy or predictable life. I want a real life, beside a real person. I want you." Emily kissed him, and this time there was no fear in the kiss. There was hope, love, and the decision to fight for what they had. "I love you too," she said when they parted, "and I want to try too. Even knowing it's going to be hard." "Especially knowing it's going to be hard," Emily replied with a brave smile. "The best things in life are never easy." They stood embracing on the pier, planning how to face together the challenges they knew would come. But for now it was enough to know they weren't alone. What they didn't know is that Mrs. Williams hadn't given up, and that she was preparing a much more elaborate strategy to separate them. The following Monday, Michael arrived at work and found his secretary, Rachel, visibly nervous. "Mr. Michael, there are some people waiting for you in the meeting room," she said. "What people?" "Lawyers," Rachel replied quietly. "And Mrs. Jennifer." Michael sighed. He knew this conversation would have to happen eventually. In the meeting room, he found Jennifer accompanied by two men in suits. "Michael," Jennifer stood up when he entered. "Thank you for agreeing to see us." "Jennifer, what is this?" Michael asked, pointing to the lawyers. "It's about the cancellation of our wedding," one of the men replied. "I'm Mr. Davidson, lawyer for the Parker family. We need to resolve some legal matters." "What matters?" "The financial losses resulting from the cancellation," Mr. Davidson explained. "The party, the catering, the decorations, the honeymoon, all of this was booked and cancelled due to your unilateral decision." Michael looked at Jennifer, incredulous. "You're suing me?" "It's not a lawsuit," Jennifer said quickly. "It's just compensation for the expenses my family incurred." "How much?" Michael asked the lawyer directly. 200,000 rees, Mr. Davidson replied. 200,000 rees, Michael repeated, shocked. "That was the amount spent on the preparations," the lawyer continued. "Considering the cancellation came from you—" "The cancellation came from me because I found out she was cheating on me," Michael interrupted. "Those are unproven allegations," Mr. Davidson replied. "There is no document or concrete evidence of such behavior." Michael understood the game. They were trying to blackmail him financially. "And if I don't pay?" "In that case, we'll have to take the matter to court," Mr. Davidson said, "and inevitably, your new companion would be called to testify about the circumstances of the beginning of your relationship." The threat was clear. They were going to make his relationship with Emily public and try to tarnish her reputation. "You have 1 week to decide," Jennifer said, avoiding looking directly at Michael. "Davidson will contact your lawyer." After they left, Michael called his personal lawyer, Mr. Franklin. "Franklin, I need to see you urgently," he said. An hour later, Mr. Franklin was in his office reviewing the proposal. "Legally, they don't have much ground," he explained. "Canceling a wedding due to infidelity is more than justifiable. But they can make this very public and very unpleasant," Mr. Franklin continued. "And if they involve your girlfriend, it could be complicated for her." "What do you recommend?" "Pay and be done with it," Mr. Franklin said pragmatically. 200,000 reais is a significant amount, but it won't break your company, and you avoid the headache. "But it's blackmail," Michael protested. "Yes," Mr. Franklin agreed, "but it's legal blackmail, and sometimes it's better to lose a battle to win the war." Michael spent the whole day thinking about the situation. He didn't want to give in to the blackmail, but he also didn't want to expose Emily to a public and humiliating lawsuit. That night, he decided to tell Emily everything. "They're blackmailing you," Emily said indignantly after hearing the whole story. "Yes," Michael confirmed, "and the worst part is that it's working. I don't care about the money, but I care about you being dragged into this mess." "Michael, you can't pay this blackmail," Emily said firmly. "Why not?" "Because if you pay now, they'll think they can control you forever," Emily explained. "And besides, I won't hide. If they want to involve me in a lawsuit, let them. I didn't do anything wrong." "Emily, you don't understand. They'll try to destroy your reputation." "My reputation is built on honesty and hard work," Emily interrupted. "It's not what bad people say about me that will change that." Michael looked at Emily with admiration. Even in the face of a legal threat, she maintained her dignity and courage. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely," Emily replied. "Let's fight, Michael. The right way." The next day, Michael called Mr. Davidson. "I won't pay," he said simply. "Are you sure?" Mr. Davidson asked. "This will become very public." "I'm sure," Michael confirmed. "And doctor, you can tell Jennifer that she chose the wrong side in this fight." A week later, the news was on all the city's gossip sites. Millionaire businessman cancels wedding over infidelity and is sued by ex-fiancée. Along with the article, There were photos of Michael and Emily at the pier, clearly taken without permission. Emily was fired from 2 of her 3 jobs the same day. Only the restaurant chef kept her, saying he didn't care about rich people's gossip. "I'm sorry," Michael said when he heard about the firings. "It's all my fault." "It's no one's fault," Emily retorted. "It's the consequence of bad people doing bad things. But we'll get through this." But the situation got even worse when Jennifer's lawyers discovered that Emily was studying business administration and tried to claim that she had approached Michael with financial intentions. "They're saying I'm a con artist," Emily told Michael, showing him the news on her phone. "That I planned our meeting to pull a gold digger scam." "That's ridiculous," Michael said. "Yeah, but people are believing it," Emily replied sadly. "The nephews are being teased at school. Yesterday, Olivia came home crying because her friends said she was going to get rich because her aunt was tricking a millionaire." Michael felt anger like he'd never felt in his life. "Emily, I'm going to end this," he promised. "How?" "I'll prove they're lying. I'll expose the truth about Jennifer's betrayal. I'll hire a detective if I have to." Emily held his hands. "Michael, this could take months. And meanwhile, the children keep suffering. I keep losing work, and our relationship gets more and more strained." "What are you suggesting?" Emily took a deep breath before answering. "Maybe we should take a break," she said quietly. "Emily, no," Michael begged. "Until the situation calms down," she continued. "Until we prove they're lying. Until—" "No," Michael repeated more firmly. "Emily, if we separate now, they win. That's exactly what they want. But the children will understand that sometimes good people have to fight against bad people," Michael said, "and that when you truly love someone, you don't give up just because it gets hard." Emily started crying. "I don't know what to do anymore, Michael," she confessed. "I'm so tired of fighting." Michael pulled her into a hug. "You're not fighting alone," he whispered. "You'll never fight alone again." It was then that Michael made a decision that would change everything. "Emily, I have an idea," he said, "but you're going to think I'm crazy. Tell me. Let's get married." Emily pulled away from the hug to look at him. "How?" "Let's get married now before the case goes to trial," Michael explained. "If we're married, it becomes even clearer that our relationship is serious and real. And besides—" Michael knelt right there, in the middle of the pier. "Emily Miller, will you marry me?" "Michael, get up," Emily said, nervous. "People are watching." "Let them watch," Michael replied, not getting up. "Emily, these past few months have been the best of my life. You taught me what real love is. You taught me that happiness isn't about money, but about sharing life with people who matter. You taught me that family isn't just blood, it's choice." Emily was crying again. "I don't have a ring right now," Michael continued, "but I have something better. I have the promise that I'll love you for the rest of my life. I'll protect you and the children. I'll build a beautiful life with you, no matter how many people try to get in our way. So, Emily Miller, will you marry me?" "Michael," Emily began. "If the answer is no, I understand," Michael said quickly. "I know it's a lot of pressure. I know everything's very complicated." "The answer is yes," Emily interrupted him. "Yes? Yes, I'll marry you," Emily repeated, now smiling through her tears. "Because I love you too, and because I believe true love can overcome anything." Michael stood up and kissed her, while some people on the pier applauded. "When?" Emily asked when they separated. "Tomorrow," Michael replied, "if you agree." "Tomorrow?" Emily laughed. "How are we going to organize a wedding in one day?" "A simple wedding," Michael explained. "Just us, the children, a few important people. At the courthouse in the morning and a small party in the afternoon. What matters isn't the size of the party, it's the commitment we're making." Emily nodded. "Okay," she said. "But on one condition." "What?" "The party will be here at the pier," Emily said. "It's where it all began. It's where we want our new life to begin too." The next day, Emily and Michael got married in a simple ceremony at the courthouse, with Daniel, Andrew, and Olivia as witnesses. Emily wore a simple white dress she bought at a downtown store, and Michael wore the same suit he had on the day they met. In the afternoon, they held a small party at the pier. The chef from the restaurant where Emily worked prepared the buffet. Her former bosses who hadn't fired her came to show their support. A few of Michael's true friends also showed up. "Can you believe it?" one of Emily's neighbors commented. "She managed to hook a millionaire husband at the pier." "She didn't hook a millionaire husband," Daniel, the oldest nephew, replied seriously. "She hooked a husband who truly loves her." The child's answer made everyone laugh and applaud. During the party, Michael gave a speech. "When I first came to this pier, I was lost. I thought my life was over. But Emily showed me that sometimes life needs to end, so it can start over better. She taught me that true love isn't about finding the perfect person. It's about finding the right person. And I found my right person." Emily also gave a speech. "A few months ago, if someone had told me I would marry a businessman I met while fishing, I would have said they were crazy. But Michael taught me that love happens when you least expect it, with the person you least imagine. He showed me that two people from different worlds can build a new world together." As the party was winding down, Mrs. Johnson, Emily's neighbor, pulled Michael aside. "Young man," she said seriously, "you know if you hurt this girl, you'll have to answer to me, right?" "I know," Michael replied, smiling, "and I promise that will never be necessary." "You seem like a good guy," Mrs. Johnson continued, "but she's been through a lot. Don't disappoint." "I won't disappoint," Michael promised. That night, Emily and Michael went to his house for the first time as husband and wife. The children stayed with Mrs. Johnson to give the newlyweds privacy. "Can I confess something?" Emily said as they were getting ready for bed. "Of course. I still can't believe this is real," she admitted. "I still think I'll wake up and find out it was all a dream." "Want me to prove it's real?" Michael asked, pulling her closer. "How?" "Like this." He kissed her at length. "Dreams aren't this good." Emily laughed. "You're right," she agreed. "Reality is much better." But the honeymoon was short-lived. The following Monday, Mr. Davidson called Michael's office. "Congratulations on the marriage," he said sarcastically. "But this changes nothing. The lawsuit continues." "Actually, it changes everything," Mr. Franklin, Michael's lawyer, replied. "Now we have a legally established family, and any attempt at defamation against my client will be met with lawsuits for emotional damages." "We'll see," Mr. Davidson said before hanging up. The first round of the legal battle had begun, but Michael and Emily were now facing it together as a united family. 1 week after the wedding, something unexpected happened. Rachel, Michael's secretary, asked to speak with him privately. "Mr. Michael, I need to tell you something," she said, visibly nervous. "What is it, Rachel?" "It's about the lawsuit, and about Jennifer," she began. "I did something terrible, and now I can't live with it anymore." Michael felt a chill in his stomach. "What did you do?" "Jennifer offered me money to spy on you," Rachel confessed, starting to cry. "She wanted to know about your schedule, about where you went, about Emily." "Rachel." "I needed the money," she continued. "My mother is sick, and I needed to pay for the treatment. But after I saw you two together, after I realized how happy you are with her, I couldn't go on anymore." Michael fell silent, processing the information. "There's more," Rachel said. "Jennifer has proof that she was cheating on you long before what she claimed in the lawsuit. I saw the messages. She was with your ex-best friend for over a year. Do you have access to this evidence?" "I do," Rachel confirmed. "She made me copy some documents from her computer when I went to her house to get the money. She thought I was too dumb to understand what I was seeing." "Rachel, this could change everything," Michael said, hopeful. "I know, and I want to help you," she replied, "even if it means I lose my job." "You won't lose your job," Michael said firmly. "You made a mistake, but you're trying to make it right. That means a lot to me." That night, Michael told Emily everything. "So Rachel has proof that Jennifer was lying about when the affair started?" Emily asked. "She does," Michael confirmed, "which means their entire legal argument falls apart. They can't claim damages for a cancelled wedding if she was already cheating for over a year." "And what does that change for us?" "It means we're not just defending ourselves anymore," Michael explained. "Now we can go on the offensive. We can sue them for defamation, for blackmail, for all the lies they spread about you. Emily grew thoughtful. Michael, do you want my honest opinion? Always. Let's end this once and for all, Emily said with determination. I don't want to spend years fighting in court. I want to clear my name, protect the children, and move on with our life. Then that's what we'll do, Michael agreed. Mr. Franklin arranged a meeting with all the lawyers involved for the following week. The goal was to present the new evidence and try to reach a settlement. At the meeting, Mr. Franklin got straight to the point. My clients have evidence that Miss Jennifer was in an extramarital relationship for over a year before the wedding was cancelled, he said, placing copies of the messages on the table. Mr. Davidson picked up the documents, and his face paled as he read. This could be forged, he said without conviction. It could, Mr. Franklin agreed. Franklin, that's why we're suggesting the proper authorities conduct a full technical examination of Miss Jennifer's cell phones and computers from the period in question. Jennifer, who had remained silent until then, finally spoke. That won't be necessary, she said quietly. Jennifer, don't say anything, Mr. Davidson warned. No, Davidson, she continued. Enough. I was indeed with Brandon for a long time. Michael, I'm sorry. Everything got out of control. Mrs. Williams, who was present at the meeting, became furious. Jennifer, are you crazy? Now they're going to sue us. Mom, stop, Jennifer pleaded. I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of hurting innocent people. Emily doesn't deserve any of this. Michael looked at Emily, who was sitting beside him. There was relief in her eyes. Jennifer, Michael said calmly, thank you for telling the truth. Now you can sue me if you want, Jennifer said, looking directly at Emily. I deserve it, but I want you to know that I see how you two truly love each other, and I'm sorry for trying to come between that. Mr. Franklin looked at Michael and Emily. My clients would like to speak privately, he said. In another room, Michael and Emily discussed what to do. She apologized, Emily observed, and she seemed sincere. She did, Michael agreed. What do you want to do? I want her to publicly withdraw all the accusations she made against me, Emily said. I want a public retraction. And I want her to pay compensation not to us, but to a charity for orphaned children. Is that all? That's all, Emily confirmed. I don't want to destroy her life like she tried to destroy ours. I want justice, not revenge. When they returned to the meeting, Mr. Franklin presented the conditions. My clients want a full public apology, acknowledging that all accusations against Mrs. Emily were false. They also want a donation of 100,000 reais to St. Joseph's Children's Home, which cares for orphaned children. In return, they won't sue for defamation or emotional damages. And the original lawsuit? Mr. Davidson asked. It will be withdrawn immediately, Mr. Franklin replied. Considering its legal basis has just collapsed. Jennifer nodded. I accept everything, she said. Mrs. Williams tried to protest, but Mr. Davidson interrupted her. Catherine, we have no choice. If this goes to trial now, you'll lose and could even be sued for perjury. 3 days later, Jennifer published a full apology in all the local newspapers and on social media. She admitted that she had lied about Emily, that Michael had called off the wedding for valid reasons, and that the whole situation had been caused by her own infidelity. The news of the apology spread just as widely as the original accusations. Emily was contacted by both bosses who had fired her, offering her job back with a raise. Michael's phone didn't stop ringing with apologies from acquaintances who had believed the lies. How do you feel now that it's all over? Michael asked Emily on the night the apology was published. Relieved, she replied, but mostly grateful. Grateful for what? For going through this with you by my side, Emily explained. I know if I had been alone, I might have given up, but you gave me the strength to fight. You're the one who gave me strength to fight, Michael corrected. You're the one who taught me that some things are worth defending. They were at the pier, the same place where it had all begun. Emily had gone back to fishing, and Michael had actually learned to enjoy the activity. Michael? Yes? Can I ask you something I've always wanted to know? Of course. On the day we met, when you threw the ring into the ocean, did you really want it to disappear forever? Michael thought about the question. "You know, at the time I thought I did," he replied. "But now I think deep down I hoped someone would bring it back. I hoped someone would help me understand that the problem wasn't the ring, it was the wrong person wearing it." "And now? What did you do with it?" Michael smiled and took something out of his pocket. It was the original ring, but now it was on a chain. "It's here," he showed her, "as a reminder that sometimes bad things need to happen for good things to begin." Emily touched the ring. "It's beautiful," she said, "but I prefer mine." She showed the simple gold ring that Michael had bought for their wedding. "Why?" "Because this one represents our true love," Emily explained. "The other represents a mistake that turned into a blessing." They continued fishing late into that night, planning their future together. Emily had decided to use part of the compensation from the apology to go back to school formally. Michael was thinking about expanding his business to include social projects. "You know something?" Emily said when they were packing up the equipment. "What?" "I never imagined I'd marry someone I met while fishing," she laughed. "I never imagined I'd learn to fish for love," Michael retorted. "Was it worth it?" "Worth every second," Michael replied, kissing her. "Worth every hardship, every tear, every moment of fear, because all of it brought me to you." 6 months later, Emily and Michael had found a happy routine. She had returned to studying and now worked part-time, helping Michael with the company's social projects. The children were adapting well to their new life, without losing the simplicity they had always had. One evening, while they were fishing, Emily made an announcement. "Michael, I'm pregnant." Michael nearly dropped the fishing rod into the water. "Really?" "Really," Emily confirmed, smiling. "I found out today." Michael picked her up and spun her around in the air, laughing with joy. "We're having a baby," he shouted to the ocean. "Do the kids know?" he asked when he set her back down. "No, I wanted to tell you first," Emily replied, "but I think they'll be happy, especially Olivia. She said many times that she wanted a little brother or sister." "Emily, I'm so happy," Michael said with tears in his eyes. "I never imagined I could be this happy." "Me neither," Emily agreed. "Sometimes I think I'll wake up and find out it was all a beautiful dream." "You won't wake up," Michael promised, "because this is our real life, our real family, our real love." They stood embraced on the pier, watching the ocean where it had all begun. Their lives had completely changed since that first night, but one thing remained the same. They were still two people who had found something special in each other. "Michael?" "Yes?" "Thank you for not giving up on the ring that night," Emily said. "Thank you for fishing it out," Michael replied, "and for fishing out my heart along with it." Emily laughed. "That was the worst pickup line you've ever used," she said. "But it worked, didn't it?" Michael retorted, smiling. "You married me anyway." "I did," Emily agreed, "and I'd do it all over again." 2 years later, Emily and Michael were back on the pier with their newborn son, Ethan, and the 3 nieces and nephews, who were now officially their adopted children. Their sustainable fishing consulting business was thriving, and they had become a family well known in the community for their social projects. "Daddy, tell the story of how you met Mommy," Olivia requested as they prepared the fishing rods. "Again?" Michael pretended to complain. "I've told that story 1,000 times." "But we like it," Andrew protested. "All right," Michael gave in. "Once upon a time, there was a very sad man who thought his life was over." Emily listened to Michael telling once more the story of how they met, smiling as she noticed how he always added new details to entertain the children. "And then Mommy fished out Daddy's ring." Daniel concluded the story along with Michael. "And she fished out his heart too," Olivia added, giggling. "Exactly," Michael confirmed, looking at Emily. "And they lived happily ever after." "Is it really going to end like that?" Andrew asked. "Happily ever after?" Emily and Michael looked at each other and smiled. "Yes, it is," Emily answered. "Because when love is true, it always finds a way to work out." That night, after the children had gone to sleep, Emily and Michael were alone on the pier once again. "You know what I was thinking about today?" Emily said. "What?" "If that lady at the diner who helped me when I was crying knew how that moment changed my life," Emily reflected. "If she knew that because of her kindness, I learned to be kind to you, and that brought all this happiness." "Maybe she does know," Michael suggested. "Maybe good people always know, even without realizing it, that their small gestures can change someone's world." "You think so?" "I do," Michael confirmed. "Just like your gesture of offering the ring back to me changed my life. Just like your patience in teaching me to fish taught me patience for other things. Just like your courage in facing all the difficulties taught me to be brave." Emily snuggled into Michael's chest. "I love you," she said simply. "I love you too," he replied. "And I will love you until the last day of my life. Do you promise?" "I promise," Michael said, kissing the top of Emily's head. "And you know I always keep my promises." They stayed in a comfortable silence, listening to the sound of the waves and feeling the ocean breeze. 5 years earlier, neither of them could have imagined where life would take them. But now, sitting on the pier where it all began, they knew they had found something many people search for their entire lives: a true love, a real family, and the happiness that comes from building a life based on honesty, hard work, and mutual care. "Emily?" "Yes?" "Thank you for agreeing to teach me how to fish that first night," Michael said. "Thank you for being a good student," Emily replied. "Still am." Emily looked at him, at the organized fishing rods, at the family they had built together, and at the future they still had ahead. "You still are," she confirmed, "and you always will be." And so, on the pier where a ring thrown into the ocean had turned into the beginning of a true love, Emily and Michael Miller Thompson continued fishing together, knowing they had found the greatest treasure the ocean could offer: a second chance to be happy with the right person. The ocean kept returning gifts to those who knew how to fish with patience and love. End of story. Now tell us what you thought of this story and where you're watching from. If you have any similar experiences to share, leave them in the comments with sincere words. Do you believe true love can overcome social differences? We'd love to read your opinion. Thank you so much for your company. Don't forget to leave your like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional stories.